Okay, so what we started with is we have started with understanding what is the meaning of cascade style sheets. What is CSS? CSS is a way to make your web pages more attractive. It is a way of making your web pages more attractive by designing and styling the content of the page. HTML alone is not sufficient to design attractive web pages, so we use along with that CSS. What is CSS? We write some rules for styling the content of the web page, and these rules we define it at different places. We either declare it inside the tag. When you declare it inside the tag, it is called as inline styling. The second way of doing it is by defining the style at the start of the document in the head section. It is called as embedded styling. When you define styles at the document level, then you can also, the third type of styling or the place where you define your styles is in external files. You can specify the styles in an external file and save it with extension .css. So what will happen is you can apply the styles which you have defined in an external file in your HTML pages. Okay, so you know where you write CSS code. Then so many aspects of CSS we have studied. We have studied the different types of properties, the different types of values that you assign to properties and all that. Then yesterday I was explaining to you people about what is the meaning of how styles interact. In that there was something called as inheritance and all that. There was something called as inheritance and all that. Basically what we have to study here is there are three different types. I told you that uh, there can be a lot of clashes. There can be a lot of clashes with respect to applying style. What is the meaning of a clash is, let us say you have defined the style at the inline level, and to the same tag you have defined another style at the document level. So there is a clash as to which style should be applied to the particular tag, to the particular element. Uh, so in that case, there is a clash. The browser has to now decide which style the browser will apply to that particular element. So this is how styles interact, and this is how styles clash. Now the browser should decide upon which style should be applied. Okay, I hope you understood what is the meaning of clashing. Let us say for the p tag, inside the p tag only you have defined a style inside the tag. You have used inline technique. Inline means you define the style inside the tag only. So you have said that the text color should be green, and then you have defined a style for the p tag at the document level also, and there you have said that the text color should be red for the p tag only. Now there is a clash. This clash I'm talking about. Now the browser has to resolve this problem. The browser has to now decide whether the text color should be green in color or it should be red in color. Okay, so now basically how does the browser does this is, there are three techniques how the browser decides as to which style should be applied. The first is called as the inheritance technique. In this, what happens is, you have to just simply understand in inheritance that if you apply a style, to a root element, and then inside that there are multiple tags. If you apply a style to the root element, for example, let us say to the body element you apply text color is equals to green. Inside the body there will be p tag also. So will the p tag content will also be displayed with green color or no? So that is called as inheritance. A style which is deployed at the root element, a style which is defined at the root element, will it be applied to the child elements inside the root tag? Okay, so this is taken care by inheritance. Some of the tags in HTML can be inherited. For example, you can see that it is written here. In one example, they had applied a style for the body tag, and then all the other elements inside the body tag should take the style of the body tag. Not all tag takes the inheritance property. What happens, I will just show it to you. Many CSS properties affect not only themselves but their descendants. What is the meaning of descendants? Descendants are the tags which are inside the main tag. Okay, font, color, list, and text properties are inheritable, which means that if there is a font tag, if there is, let us say, a font tag, if there is a list tag, if there is a text property tag, any they are inheritable. Means if there is any tag inside the root tag of which tags should be there, font tag, list tag, text properties, and the color tag, they inherit means they will take the style of the root tag. But on the other hand, the layout, the background, spacing properties are not inheritable. Means inside the root tag, if you have supplied any values for the background color, the spacing and all that, they will not be inherited. Okay, so there are some rules and regulations applied for inheritance. Okay, those rules and regulations, right now what you have to understand is that if there is a clash, if the browser has to resolve a problem of clashing of styles, if for the same tag multiple styles are applied, the browser has to decide as to which style should be applied. We take care of two things here. There are three basically ideas which we follow. First is the inheritance. What is inheritance? Under inheritance, the root tag will define a style, whether the child nodes descendants should uh, be applied with the same properties or no. This comes under inheritance. The descendants, remember, the descendants means all the tags which are inside the root tag. That is about inheritance. The second technique which the browser uses to decide, the second technique which the browser uses, remember, the second technique which the browser uses to decide which style should be applied to the tag is specificity. Specificity, okay, specificity uh, is that technique where the browser decides which style to be applied based on how specifically you have specified the selector. How specifically you have specified the selector. Okay, which means that if more specifically you have specified the style, that will have the highest precedence and that style will be applied. Specificity has got a particular value, for example, and these values are defined already. Okay, it is not me or anybody else who has defined these values. These are defined already by W3C, the World Wide Composite Consortium. They have defined the specificity value. The more the specificity value, the more precedence that particular selector will get. I will explain to you. This is easy. Specificity is the style will be applied on that tag which is more specific. The more specific you have specified it, that will be applied. Okay. Now let us take an example, and you will know. Uh, so in specificity, the browser decides upon which style to apply based on how specifically it has been defined. Okay, that is what you have tried. Specificity is how the browser determines which style rule takes precedence when more than one style rule could be applied to the same element. In CSS, the more specific the selector, the more precedence it has. So this much also, if you write, it is more than sufficient. So you understood, I hope, that specificity is how specifically you mention it. Okay. Now let us take this example. Okay. Now let us take this. Let us take this example. This is for inheritance. This is for inheritance. We have HTML, we have body tag. All these are the descendants. Okay. This is example is for the inheritance. Then inherit values, all that, and then this is about specificity. What is the meaning of specificity? Is how specifically you define it. Now remember that element selector is the style that we define. This is element selector. You can see this is element selector. Why this is element selector? Because here we have a selector and there you have specified the name of the element. This div tag, I have defined a rule here. What is this type of selector? This is also element selector. What is this selector? This is also element selector. What is this dot last? What type of selector this is? This is called as class selector. I hope you remember the class selector because it starts with a dot and then you have given a name to it. What is this type of a selector? Hash very last. The name of the selector is very last. And what is this hash? Hash means it is ID selector. It is ID selector. Now remember that in cascading style sheets, the ID selector has got the highest precedence. After that is the class selector. After that comes the precedence of element selector. So if you have defined something like this, have a look at this. I have defined a style for the p tag. I've defined a style for the p tag. I've said the color should be green. I've said the color should be green. I have a p tag here. You can see that I have a p tag here. But for this p tag, I have said the class should be last. I have said the class should be last. Look at this. Look at this example here. Look at this example here. I've said P, I've said class is equals to last. Now, do you think there is a clash? There is definitely a clash because I've defined a style for this element P here. And I've defined a class rule also, which is over here. Last. Last is the name of the class. And I've said class is equals to last. Okay. Now, here, just hold on a minute. Okay, so I have defined a style for the p tag here. I've said the color should be green, and I have also defined a class selector where I've said the color should be blue. And see, I am applying this p class is equals to last. Now in this two, how do you think this content will be displayed? By Dave on October 15. Okay, let us say this is the content. How will this be displayed? So when you run this page, by Dave, you can see here, by Dave on October 15th is displayed with blue color. Is displayed with blue color, which means that I have defined it here in the class selector. So this was applied, not this. Color is not green, it is blue. Color is not green, it is blue. Okay, which means that the class selector has got more precedence than the element selector. Similarly, there is one more style defined here called as the ID selector, very last. And then you can see in this example here, there is a p tag, there is a element selector also defined for the p tag, color is green. There is a class also declared, the color is blue, and in the ID selector we have defined the color should be orange. Now the content, thanks for posting. Thanks for posting is the content. Now how will this text be displayed? Thanks for posting. You can see that thanks for posting is displayed with orange color because the ID selector is applied and it has got the highest precedence. ID selector always has got highest precedence, then colors class selector, then comes element selector. Okay, I hope this is clear to all of you. This specifies how specific it is. Specificity actually defines a particular value. The more the value, the more precedence it has got. So the value and all that is given over here. So you can see that if it is a tag selector, the specificity value is 0, 1. If it is descendant contextual type of selector where you say that if there is a form tag inside a div tag, then you apply this particular thing. This has got the value 0, 2. If there is a class selector, dot example is an example of a class selector, then the specificity value is 10. If there is a ID selector which starts with a hash symbol, then the specificity value is 101. If there is a style defined inside the tag itself, if there is a style defined inside the style, what type of CSS this is? This is inline because you have defined the style inside the tag only. It has got highest precedence, 1000. Specificity value is 1000. So depending upon these value, that particular style will be applied. So the second technique which the browser uses to apply the style, if there is a clash, it uses the specificity value and then it decides which style should be applied. And the third and the last technique which the browser uses to determine which style should be applied is the location. This is the most simplest. I have already told you this. It decides upon the location as to where it is defined. I can define a style inside the tag itself, it is called as inline styling. I can define the style at the document level in the head section. It is called as embedded styling. I can define the style in external files. They are called as external styling. Which has got the highest precedence? I have already told you, whatever you have defined inside the tag has got highest precedence. Then comes what is defined at the document level, that is embedded styling. Then comes external styling. So highest precedence is for inline styling. So the location decides, the location of the style decides which style should be applied. Okay, so if you have defined a style for the p tag inline, if you have defined a style for the p tag document level will be neglected and the inline style will be applied. So the location of the style decides which style will be applied. So basically what we have studied in how the styles interact, if there is a collision, if there is a clash, the browser takes help of these three things. First is inheritance, second is specificity, and the third is location. Inheritance means the descendant tags will be applied with the style. Second is specificity. Depending upon the specificity value, the browser decides which style to apply. And last is the location of the style where it is defined, the style will be applied. There are three locations: inline, document level, and external. So this is about the clash of styles, and the browser decides how the browser will decide. So there are some more examples of specific values here, specificity values. So after this, then I started with the box model yesterday. I explained to you very important box model. Every element in HTML, every individual element in HTML is visualized, is seen as a box. Box has got some properties like margin property, the padding property, the width and the height property, the background color property, the border property, all this, and then you can apply these styles on the box and you can make your web pages more attractive. We have seen some examples in the last class yesterday. I gave a background color to the box by taking a p tag. Okay, so you can have background color, you can have background image, you can have background position. A lot of things will be there. Okay, then you have the border properties. In the border properties, yesterday we saw that, you know, it has got a thick border, then it has got dotted dashed border, then I can change the border color also. All that we have seen. We can give margins to the box. Margin is something which is outside the box, okay, from the top and from the left. And padding is which is inside the box. Okay, border, which are the properties available for the border? We have border style. Border style can take what type of values? It can take a solid dotted dash. These are the possible values that this property can take. Then you have something called as border width, you have something called as border color, border image, all that. So these are the different properties that are there. Okay, we saw some examples yesterday. Okay, and you can also have different colors for the different borders. On the top you want something else, so you can say border color, border top color, border bottom color, like that. Also you can set the properties and you can change the colors of all the four sides. So that is what we had seen yesterday in the yesterday's class. And for today, then you have something called as box dimension. In the box dimension, you have to remember only two very important properties: the height and the width properties. That's it. In box dimension, I have only the height and the width property. So you can also specify the height and width property of the box, of how much width the p tag should be, how much height the p tag should be, and all that. Okay, so that is about the dimension, the height and the width of the box. Then after that, you have something called as overflow. We have something called as overflow property, very important. Again, overflow property is something like this. For example, let us say that you have a box, you have set a property for the box. You have set a property for the box. You have said that the box size should be 50 pixels by 50 pixels, let us say. Okay, and then you write some content inside the p tag. Let us say the content is too big, it doesn't fit in that 50 pixels by 50 pixels. Let us say the content that you've written inside the box is too much. You have written some lot of theory. Okay, you have written a lot of theory, you've written something like a lot of theory, and then it doesn't fit in that box. The dimension that you have mentioned to it, that is 200. Let us say this example only. You have said the p tag should have a background color of silver, the width should be 200 pixels, and the height should be 100 pixels. And what you have written in this p tag, is this theory. Now you can see that the content of the p tag overflows. It goes beyond that box. Because it has to fit. No, it doesn't fit in that box, so the content is too much, so it overflows, it goes beyond it. So you can even control the content of the p tag, and you can make it fit inside that box. There is a property called as overflow, and you can control that. How you can control it? This is the property overflow. If you say overflow is equals to visible, this is the default property. Even if you don't specify, this will be taken by default. If you say in the p tag overflow visible, if you say, this is what will be displayed to you. The box size is only this much. The box size is only this much from here to here. You can see. I hope this is clear to you. It is very small, but the box size is only this much. Okay, the box is only this much, but the content is going beyond that. So what you are saying is that the content, if whatever overflows, it should be visible. You have said that whatever overflows should be visible. So you will be able to see the content even if it is beyond the box. If you say overflow hidden, what will happen is it will display you only that what is within the box, and whatever is overflowing, it will hide it. Because you have said whatever is overflowing, please hide it by specifying it in the overflow property. You have said overflow is equals to hidden, which means that whatever is overflowing, hide it. You can also specify it like this: overflow scroll. You can also specify it overflow scroll. What is the meaning of that? That you will have a scroll bar here. I don't know whether you're able to see this, but let me try to make it a little. Oh my god, this has become too big, but okay. Yeah, you can see that this is overflow. This is overflow scroll. This is overflow scroll. And what happens is the size of the box will be 200 pixels by 100 pixels. Content will not be displayed, but you will get a scroll bar. You will get a scroll bar. You can use that scroll bar to go up and down and see the content in that small box only of 200 pixels by 100 pixels. Okay, so what you get here is a scroll bar. If you say overflow is equal to scroll, this is what you will get. And finally, there is one more property called as property is overflow only, but the value that you can assign to it is auto. If you say overflow is auto, if the content is small, it will fit, scroll bars will not be there. If the content is more, automatically the scroll bar will come. So auto, depending upon the content, the scroll bar appearing and not appearing will be automatic. Will be automatic. So this is the overflow property. I want you people to remember in the dimension, the height and the width property of the box. Next is the overflow property, which will decide whether the content, if it is overflowing, what to do with that. You want it to be visible, you want it to hide, you want the scroll bar to come, or you want to keep it auto. So with that, we have this box here. You can specify the dimension of the box by specifying the pixels, or you can also specify it in terms of percentage. You want the box to occupy 50% of the browser space. So you can say width is equals to 50%, height is equals to 50%. So you can also mention the dimension of the box, not only in terms of pixels. Pixels means it is fixed. 50 pixels, it is something like centimeters. I want the box to be 2 centimeters by 4 centimeters. So when you specify a measurement there, exactly the box will be of that measurement. Percentage, you know, if the browser window is, let us say something like 600 pixels, 50% means automatically the box will be 300 pixels, 50% of that. So you can specify the size of the box in terms of percentage also, depending upon the size of the browser. So you can see this is one example. Width is specified in terms of percentage. You have to just write the percentage and then followed by the percentage symbol. Okay, so this is about the dimensions. That is the end of box model. The box model, that is the end of box model. Important things in box model is, first is the background, next is the border, next is the dimension of the box. Okay, and then inside that, a lot of properties are there. You have to just please go through that. Next comes text styling. Text styling means if I have a text content, in my web page, how do I specify the font family? How do I specify the font style? Whether I want it underlined or overlined or strike out. I want Arial, I want Times New Roman. How do I specify it? So that comes all under text styling. So they will ask you in examination one question: explain any 6 properties available under text styling. They will ask you a question like that. Explain any 6 properties available under text styling. So you can use all these properties here. You can use all these properties here. So for text styling, which are the different properties I have? I have font family, I have font size, I have font style, I have font variant, I have font weight. These are the different types of properties available for styling my text in an HTML page. Okay, what does font family do? Here you can specify the family: Arial, Times New Roman, all that you can specify it under font family. What is font size? Basically, this is where you specify the size of the font, and you can specify the font of this in terms of some measurement unit, pixels, points. You can specify anything. By the way, in HTML, by default, the text that is getting displayed is with 16 pixels. It is 16 pixels. If you want more, you can apply 20 pixels, 24 pixels, 100 pixels, 200 pixels also, no problem. Then you have font style. Font style, you want it to be bold, you want it to be italic, you want it to be oblique, all that you can do using font style property. Okay, font style property. Then you have font variant, a very important font variant property, where you specify the font. You want it to be capitals, you want it to be small, all that. Font weight, of course, comes as bold, normal, bolder, light, all that comes under font weight. So these are the properties which you have to use to style your text on the web page. Okay, so you can say font. One example given is for the p tag. Font family should be Cambria, Georgia, Times New Roman, serif, all that you can specify it like that. Okay, so these are some examples given for the sizes. Font family, again there are some more given here. Okay, all that. Then comes font sizes, how to specify the font sizes. Font family, I said road sans, style is normal, font weight is 400. All that, you can basically supply the properties to the supply the values to the properties, and you can style your text. Some examples are given here. For the body tag, you can take an example and all that. Okay, now you will have a doubt as to why font family they have applied so many styles. Broad sans also is there, Arial is also there, and sans serif is also there. Three styles have applied. Now for this font family, the font in the body, how will the font be displayed in the body? Whether will it use Droid sans? By the way, this is a name of a font. Arial is a name of a font. Sans serif is also a name of the font. So which particular font family will be used to display the content? It will first start with the first one. If this is available with the browser, the entire content will be displayed with this font. If let us say in the browser this is not there, sometimes in the browser, in some computers, the fonts will not be available. Not all fonts will be available. So in the browser, if this font is available, it will use this font to display the content. If this font is not available, then it will go for the Arial. If this font is also not there, then it will go for sans serif. If this is also not there, then it will go to the default which the browser uses. Okay, so I hope it is clear. Uh, so this is about the size. Then comes the paragraph properties. In the paragraph properties, again we use font size. In the paragraph, basically what we have spacing. We have spacing between the fonts. We have the margin of the paragraph and all that. So basically again the same thing we use here in the paragraph. What we have text. So how to style the text? We use font size, but then we specify the percentage. We can specify it in terms of some measurement. Okay, 1 pixel, 2 pixels, like that. Okay, and so on. So in the p tag we can specify it like this. Then there are a few more text styling properties. Letter spacing, how much space you want between the letters. Okay, sometimes you will see that if I write the name MMEC, the space between the characters will be a little less. If you want that to be more, then you can specify it using the letter spacing property. Line height, the distance between the two lines, how much it should be that. Then you have list style image. This will be available for lists. For example, I told you, if you have a list, I told you that there are two different types of lists: ordered list and unordered list. In unordered list, you know that bullet points will come. If you want some image to come there, then you can do it using this list style image. Then you can specify the image which you want to appear as the bullet in your web page. So you can specify that using the list style image. List style type. List style type, here you can specify what type of bullets you need. You need a round bullet, you need a rectangular bullet, you want a square bullet, or you want a disc bullet. All that you can specify by using list style type. Okay, list style type. Then text decoration is there, whether you want it underline, overline, all that. So these properties are also very important. Please remember, this is also used for styling your text. In the examination, I told you they will ask you some questions like this. Explain any 6 properties available. Explain any 6 properties available for text styling. So all the way from the beginning here, font file, font size, font family, font style, all that, you have to also explain any of these also, because these are also text styling properties. Text align, text decoration, text direction, text indent, text shadow. All these are also text styling properties. So this is the end of the first module. I will be starting with the second module in the next class. I will be starting with tables and forms, and then I will complete it halfway through till micro formats. Okay, before I have to complete this. If required, I will even take an extra class maybe, and then I will finish tables and forms, because that is all there for the syllabus. It is all there for the syllabus for the first IA, and I will display the. I have already listed some questions. I will demonstrate that to you here. Web assignment 1. This is the assignment. Demonstrate with an example the structure of an HTML document. Explain each part. This is part, and this is not port, it is part. Since this is PDF, I will not be able to edit it now. Explain each part briefly. So you have the head section, you have the body section, all that you have to explain here. Then you have described the following HTML elements. The P tag you have to explain. This is the paragraph tag, then division tag. Then you have the A tag for, why do we use the A tag? We use it for hyperlinks. and then you have to write the syntax of the A tag, then you have the image tag, BR, code, small, strong. So you have to go through these tags and you have to understand that. Write a note on character entities, list and explain any 6 character entities used in HTML documents. I have already explained to you what is the meaning of character entities. Explain any 6 HTML5 semantic structure elements. Explain any 6 HTML semantic structure elements. Semantic structure, any 6 HTML5 semantic structure elements. I've already told you the A side, then NAV, the navigation tag, the A side tag, the section tag, all that, I explained to you some of the tags which are available for semantic header and footer, all that. So all that has to be any 6 elements you have to explain. List and explain briefly the benefits of CSS. Write the syntax of defining CSS. How to define CSS? First we write selector, then we write the flower brackets, then we write property colon value semicolon property colon value and so on. So this is the syntax. List and explain in one line any 3 properties of the following category. Font. Explain any 3 properties of font. You have font size, font family, font style. You have text decoration. I told you have something called as text style, all that which I explained to you here. See a text shadow, text indent, text direction. So all that comes under the text decoration. All that. So this is the assignment. I want you people to write this assignment in your assignment book, and you can submit it later on. I'm not in a hurry, but you all know that in the first IA I will ask you questions from this set only. Okay, so prepare yourself. I think I will stop today's class, but before the internals I want Okay, so if you look at these questions, there are some things which I have not still taught you. I did not teach you about the button tag and all that. So I will be teaching you this in the forms. Okay, so we'll stop here today. I will continue again in the next class. Okay, have a nice day, all of you. Bye-bye.